Hey, what's going on, everybody? FullFrontage here today, bringing you all a Clash Mini video. And in today's video, I want to give a big thank you to Abdod for letting me cover the interview that he did with Vlad, the community manager of Clash Mini. I'm going to leave a link to the full interview in the description below, so make sure you check that out. But I'm going to highlight some of the key moments. Hopefully keep this a bit on the shorter side, but again, definitely go watch the full interview if you want like the whole story, the context, and everything like that. Definitely recommend taking the time to go check that out, but let's hop into it. So the first topic was about matchmaking. Vlad said matchmaking is a known issue and it will be fixed over time. Trophy improvements will come over time, and that's pretty much the gist of it. So if you're not familiar, at higher level trophies, no matter if you win, you get +5 no matter where you are. If you lose, you get -5 no matter where you are. So right now it's on an even balance, and it's more about time than skill. One of the suggestions that I had was to if you get higher, when you win less trophies. If you lose more trophies. So that way it kind of balances itself out and makes for people who consistently win or at the top of leaderboards versus people who just play the most and kind of get that ground made up over time. But Vlad said there was a small talk coming to talk about matchmaking within the next week or so, so keep an eye out on the official Clash Mini channels, and I will obviously post about it, react to it, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button here if you want to get my take on the small talk. But if you want to see the small talk as is, then make sure you follow Clash Mini on socials, YouTube, all that good stuff. One of the next topics was there any thought of dividing how minis are unlocked by trophy count, instead of just once you start the game you can kind of get whatever you want, similar to unlocking certain cards in certain arenas in Clash Royale? They're talking about it. It's not confirmed or anything. It's just kind of what does it look like, and that's basically what it was. Next thing is about season length. Vlad said ideally the seasons will last about 60 days. This is obviously the very first season, so it has been longer than 60 days. We're already in month 3. And that's mainly just due to all of the changes that had to be made. There was a pretty big update in December, which wasn't a full season change, but it implemented a new hero and 2 new minis, the World Champion, the Prince, and Musketeer. So some good changes that came in, but for the future, it's probably just going to be seasons are 60 days, and that's probably when we should expect to get new content. That's not confirmed or denied, but that is just what my expectation is, just based on that. And balance changes will also likely be seasonal, so that it kind of goes inside with new season, some new content, new balances, things like that. There's also going to be a small talk on crystal coins and what to expect with crystal coins. Pretty much it. This was one of the major points that stood out to me, and mainly because this is about spectating and replays. So spectating, as you know, mini rooms were added in the update. There's no spectating feature. You can't spectate a mini room. So for tournaments, like we ran the Small Cup, a lot of people are interested in competing, but you can't spectate. And then replays, same thing. Vlad said that content is a priority over spectating and replays, which I do agree with. I think as of now, being a player at the end game, I've completed my mini pass. I've completed all my quests outside of the daily quests. But once those 2 things are done, once you get the mini pass and you complete all your like main quests, you cannot get heroes at all unless you buy them from the shop. So I do agree with Vlad that more content is a priority. But this was what stood out to me. He said, our game doesn't look like an esport. And now keep in mind, the Clash Royale team said the same thing at the start, and grassroots tournaments absolutely skyrocketed in Clash Royale. They introduced a official tournament. They had a team league. Now it's back to the solo league, Clash Royale League. The game is absolutely thriving in Spain right now, Clash Royale. So even though Vlad says that it might not visually look like an esport, he said, because the minis are all small and cute and stuff, but visuals don't matter. If it's a well-designed game, which it is, auto chess genre is still really big. Clash Mini is the best auto chess genre game that I have played over TF. Like, TFT is still really fun to me. I still play TFT, but Clash Mini just does it. It's easier to understand. It's shorter. You don't have to spend 45 minutes. It's easy. There's no synergies yet, or maybe ever, but very easy for somebody who's new to that type of game to just hop right in, play. If it's an esport, it's super easy to follow along, just like Clash Royale is. So from a spectator perspective, Clash Mini is, in my opinion, 100% an esport, and I can't wait for the scene to grow. But I do agree with what Vlad said, that more content is a priority over things like spectating and replays, which means grassroots tournaments probably in the competitive scene for Clash Mini probably won't be thriving until probably later this year, I would hope. But yes, I do agree that in order for a game to thrive as an esport, it needs to thrive as a game itself. And right now, the game itself needs more content, and that's what the team is prioritizing. So again, I definitely agree with Vlad on that part, but I don't agree that he said it doesn't look like an esport. Maybe his opinion will change. I'll change it for you. No. But no, I think Vlad said he did want to see the game like competitive. He did want to see people compete. And I do agree. More content is a priority. Now, Abdod said, in order for the game to be competitive, RNG should be removed, and kind of asked Vlad what he thought about that. And Vlad said it doesn't need to be removed. And I definitely agree with Vlad on this. I don't think the RNG aspects of the game need to be completely removed. I don't think a small chance to critical with the mini Pekka is going to be a deal breaker instead of a 1 in 6 chance to critical with the mini Pekka. Like, every 6 attacks, the mini Pekka is going to crit once. It doesn't matter. That's not going to change how things are played. If you have a small chance to do something, then you want the mini Pekka to stay alive. If the mini Pekka is going to get a critical shot on its 6th attack, then you want the mini Pekka to stay alive. Either way, you want the mini Pekka to stay alive, so it doesn't really matter what the numbers are at that point. It's just, you might just be able to get 2 critical attacks in a row instead of 2 critical attacks and 12 attacks. So I don't think it's a huge issue. I think positioning and game knowledge is still way more important than any RNG aspect. I think RNG aspect is more on the side of equal skill level. Like, if you played everything perfectly, then it might come down to RNG, but even then, depending on the units you might have, none of them might have RNG aspects to it, and it doesn't really change that much. So I agree with Vlad. I don't think it needs to be removed in order for the game to be competitive. Then the next thing was about challenges. Vlad said challenges are fun, but they're looking at exploring more challenging quests. So not exactly like win 9 games before you lose 3 and you complete the challenge, but more challenging quests. So we'll see how that plays out. And then this was very appealing to me. Probably the second most notable thing behind the esports thing was clans will not only be a social feature. Clan Wars, some aspect of it, I'm super excited. I'm probably going to have a separate video on what I think Clan Wars would be like. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell. And also share your thoughts in the comment section below on what you would like to see Clan Wars as, and maybe I'll include your comment in that video. The next thing was about balance changes. Vlad said there's no major need to increase the number of minis to fix balancing. I don't think there's a huge issue with balancing right now. I think there's a couple minis that need to be tweaked as per my balance change video and heroes, but I don't think the number of minis and heroes is reflective on the quality of the balance changes. Then they were talked about 1 in 5 elixir minis. Vlad said maybe, but no guarantee. They might try to play around with it, but they're not sure yet. Vlad said he does want more game modes, but he just doesn't know when. He just wants to focus on getting more content. The team just wants more content into the game versus just different game modes, and I definitely agree with that. Next question was about Supercell Make possibly coming after Global. Vlad said he thinks the game is perfect for Supercell Make, and I agree. Minis, heroes, boards, all that stuff can definitely be covered in Supercell Make. And Vlad said flat out, they make things with Blender, which is a graphic design tool. So if you're an aspiring graphic designer and you want to play around with mini concepts and board concepts and hero concepts, then take a shot in Blender. I'd love to see some fan art, hashtag, or is it Mini Mondays? Mini Mondays, yeah. So, you know, that'd be cool. Next question was about sandbox to test interactions. If you're not familiar with what a sandbox is, it's basically a one-player versus PvE, player versus environment. So in a sandbox mode, basically, if I was testing something, I would set it up on the board, and then I would set my own units up, and then test an interaction. Vlad was like, that seems like a more of a nice-to-have feature than a must-have feature, so it probably would not take priority until way down the line, but you can use mini rooms for that as well. You can either do it with the second device, or you can do it with the friend. They asked about magic items in Clash Mini. Vlad was, I don't know. So there's no plans, no thought of magic items in Clash Mini, at least for the foreseeable future. Next question was about air units. I personally am not a fan of the concept of air units. And like Vlad said, if air units were implemented, it would have to be very balanced. Like, it would basically have to be like the unit flies for 1 second, or a flying unit can be targeted by a ground unit and it has a 50% chance to miss while it's flying for that 1 second, but it shouldn't be where it's completely untargetable while flying. And flying needs to be very balanced. It needs to be like a 1 second thing, or when it's traveling to another unit. Like if a minion just finishes off a Pekka and the next target is 3 tiles away, the minion will fly for 3 tiles where it's not targeted by melee units, and then when it gets to its new target, it lands and is now targetable by melee. Something like that. Air units cannot stay air units. They have to be grounded and attackable by melee units for a majority of the time, for it to be even close for me to like having that concept into the game. So that's just my thought about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And it asks about giant or hog rider, or like units that have a specific target. So like, for example, that's currently in the game, the archer will target the furthest unit away. And Vlad said that they're playing around with it. It's not guaranteed. He didn't say specifically that they were playing around with the giant and hog rider, but they're playing around with target prioritization and everything like that. And then one of the last questions was about seasonal troops. The example that was given in the interview was a Royal Ghost. Frame said he likes the idea, Vlad, and he would talk to the team about it, about like having temporary minis into the game. But I actually do like this idea, because I see a world where as more minis get added into the game, it can be really overwhelming because at the season reset, as of now, all the minis reset. You have to level up your minis again at the start of a season. If there's a ton of minis in the game, it's going to be very difficult to level up 50 minis to 3 stars so you can play them all. So I see a world where potentially in rank play, you're only able to use 25 minis, and those minis are switched out. And maybe in casual play, you have access to all the minis in the game that have been implemented into the game, but not during rank play. Or some minis are taken out of the game completely. I don't know, but it's kind of like sets in TFT, if anybody's familiar with that. But basically, it would be like a rotation of minis during seasons, and maybe there are seasonal troops that come in. They were talking about like Halloween and Clashmas and stuff like that, but I think I'm thinking like game seasons. So I don't know. That's just my thought. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But yes, if you haven't watched the interview, definitely go check it out. This is a lot longer of a video than I thought it would be. But if you stuck around to the end, you're an MVP. Comment thumbs up in the comment section below if you made it all the way to the end. But I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more content. And don't forget to turn that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos. And a big thank you to Abdod for letting me highlight this. And go check out the full interview on his channel. Link is in the description below. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you later. Peace out.